everybody, welcome to MUSE TV. We are back for another bite-sized Halloween season 2, and we got a great short film called hopefully I'm not butchering the name, Kageboshi. Kageboshi?
Kageboshi. Yes.
Kageboshi. And we have Adam Valeiras and Ken Ochiai.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about the the
No,
pronunciation, but
thank you for having us.
oh, no problem. But I love this short film because it's something that I haven't seen before. And I love the mysteriousness of it. I love the way it's shot. Please tell me how did the story all come about and how did it all get started?
Well, back in May, Adam and I have been discussing about what kind of ideas that we can pitch, and this was one of 3 ideas, and this is basically inspired by Japanese yokai, which is like a spiritual beings in Japanese folk tales.
Awesome. And I kind of was gonna ask that, like, is there a history behind it? And you just answered that because is there anything you could add on to it? What was it about the spirituality of it and really telling it? Because I've never heard of this folklore before.
I mean, this is like a completely original that Adam and I created. Do you want to explain, Adam, a little bit?
Sure. Basically, so yokai, there's so many of them throughout Japanese folklore, and Ken introduced me to the world of yokai. And it's just a fascinating kind of world to dive into. It's comparable to maybe like Grimm's fairy tales. And Kageboshi is an original yokai that plays an old ancient Japanese children's game called Kagefumi. And it's basically a shadow stepping game. It's similar to American tag, or I guess just Western tag, but instead children try and step on each other's shadow. And if you have your shadow stepped on, then you're it, and it's your turn. And so Kageboshi is a kind of yokai, like child demon, who is cursed to play Kagefumi with humans, and when he steps on their shadow, they die. They basically get their life sucked out of them.
Yeah, and that's what I was just watching it again before we jumped on for the interview, and I was looking at every detail, and it's so well done. Is there was this something that was a longer format for a longer film, and you just cut it down, or was it or like some test shots or anything like that? Because it looked like there was a lot of thought process into the story and what we could see more of in the future.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen the 5 minutes version or 2 minutes version?
The 5-minute version.
Oh, I see. I mean, 5 minutes version is in the full version as of now, but we did think about the world, the universe of like Japanese yokai coming to United States, and I feel like this is, I guess, the theme of it is like kind of like throwing a question about your ethical background, coming to a different country as an immigrant, and I feel like you can't get rid of it. It's almost like as if it's a shadow. And I live in Tokyo and also LA. I was born and raised in Tokyo, but went to a school in the States and lived there for 19 years. And every time I go to the States, I feel like I go back to the States, although they treat me as a foreigner. And every time I come back to Japan, they treat me as almost like a Japanese American because I, act differently. So like, I feel like you can't really get rid of like your ethical, I guess, background as your identity. And it's not a bad thing. And the film is not saying it's a bad thing, but it's just throwing a question that it's kind of like a shadow that it's following you everywhere you go. Yeah. And I wanted to use that a metaphor and expand it with Adam to make it into a bigger story.
Yeah, because I could see this like literally the premise of the story becoming like a new horror franchise easily, because they're new stories that we haven't seen here in the United States. And I think you're going to get a big fan base, especially when people see this bite-sized Halloween and want more. Uh, a lot of the directors that we've talked to this week for the bite-sized Halloween were saying that like this is like a launching point for a lot of them. And 20th Digital is really looking to see what films and what concepts that they would like to expand on. How has it been like to work with 20th Digital to be able to not only produce the short film for Bite Size Halloween, but what the possibilities of what to do with this in the future?
Well,
Do you want to go first?
sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a incredible opportunity to get to work with a studio like 20th Digital, and all of the related organizations, but and then also just to have a film live on Hulu and get the kind of prominence and support through a distribution platform like that. Um, but yeah, it's really cool to, I guess, know that an idea that we had such strong support behind it. And we hope that there's a future for Kageboshi as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had a pleasure working with them, and step by step, they kind of like oversee the creative process, also, and those production process, post production process, and they have been giving us like a lot of great advices to, I guess, share this story I guess to American audience, and that's being kind of like a difficult sometimes because it's such a authentic idea. And like even Japanese people don't know about Kageboshi because it's original. So we have to explain the rules of like shadow tag, and also who they are as Japanese American coming to like in 1930s kind of setup. So those kind of things are very difficult to explain everything in 2 to 5 minutes. So they've been very helpful.
Yeah. And for me, like being Latino and all the folklore that we have in our culture, like La Llorona and El Cucuy and things like that, like it's easy for me to relate to these new style of things coming from Japan and Japanese folklore that like we have, and there's such a strong connection. I have a feeling like you're gonna hit a good audience that are gonna love this from different cultures that have that same type of folklore and those traditions. Even when it's a new thing, there's some relatable elements to
Oh,
every
that's great.
culture.
We're
So
glad to hear that.
yeah, so I love the look. I want to get into a little bit into the technical side because whoever did your coloring and did your editing was amazing. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you found them?
Sure. Our DP is Takuro Ishizaka, and he's been a big DP. And he went to Chapman University and came back to Japan and shot like many features, including Rurouni Kenshin, which is one of the biggest film series in Japan about the I guess samurai back in Meiji period. And it's on Netflix, and it made like more than like $100 million all over over the series. So he's like a really great DP, and he's also bilingual. So like and studied in the States. So like he and I had a very I guess similar taste and knowledge about the filmmaking, and so that was very like interesting to collaborate.
Yeah, because I love the shot selection and the way it was shot was amazing. The coloration to really pull in and give that fear was just awesome. And I love what you guys did with the story and the direction. You did some amazing work. Like I really liked this, and it's hard. And it's hard this year because Bite Size Halloween they upped the bar from last year. Like every year you're seeing more, and it keeps going bigger and bigger and bigger. And you guys are one of those. So it's hard for me to pick and line up who's the best because you all are so good. But what can you tell the Muse TV audience to get them to, as we're going to put a link in the description and for them to find Hulu, but what can you tell them to go in and go to Bite Size Halloween and be able to watch your film?
Well, it's part of the overarching Huluween database, which has a lot of just classic horror films, new horror films, and then the Bite Size Halloween catalog of horror films as well, which is all like new and upcoming. Well, not necessarily new, but just like really prominent on the rise directors, each one helming a short. We're episode 6. And so, definitely recommend to watch them in order and check them all out.
Oh, definitely. I mean, what I love about Halloween is that the variety of the range of horror films. Like not just like a scary horror. It's like a psychological horror to like horror comedy and different types of horror in like a really good quality. So I think one of the things that I would definitely recommend is to watch like some of the authentic like Asian stuff that including ours that we shot. Ours was shot in Japan, and some films were shot in other part of Asia. And I think that variety of I guess the range of the shows is very incredible.
Yeah, and before I let you go, I have to talk about your actors because I almost forgot to ask that before we had the final pitch, but I need to talk about your actors. Where did you find them? How did you pull them in? Because they are so good and sell this role so well.
Thank you. I mean, they're very, very hard to find in terms of like finding the right actor and the right look, and also being able to speak English and Japanese. And they have to be in Japan because we shot in Japan. The main actress Anju is actually very experienced child actor. She's been in like many films, and she actually wants to be a filmmaker. So I was not just an actress. So I was like a very, very impressed that she's one of those like a 21st century a girl who can be both behind the camera and also in front of the camera.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Go Jibiki is very like a seasoned actor who has been in many shows in the States and also in Japan, and currently he works in Japan. But I was introduced to him by one of the producers at the show Chiku, and I guess they've worked together, and I've seen his reel, and then he showed me some of his work, and I was blown away. So like when I talked to him on Zoom call, like I was like, let's let's go,
Yeah, and that's the one thing about this. As we close it up, there's so much I could see this going to where more films, longer version of the film, a full feature length, full time film. I even see this like as a maze for Halloween, like with all the different Halloween haunts that we have here in Southern California. Like this would be a maze that would scare people out of their mind.
I hope so.
And I think you guys have a great you started something that is going to go somewhere really far, because I just love this film. Hey, Adam, Ken, thank you so much for being a part of this. It's so great to talk to you about this film, and people need to watch it, because this is, I think, in the lineup of things, this is just another one of those films for Bite Size Halloween that are going to it's going to stick in people's mind, and they're going to ask, I want more.
Thank you. That's very flattering. Yes.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thank you, Michael.
No problem. And everybody,
Yes.
you got to check this out on Hulu. We're putting description links on below. And in addition, you'll be able to check it out and let us know what you think, because they'll be reading the comments, and that's the best way to interact with the directors, to let them know so that they could make more and do more. So thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time here on MUSE TV.